Well, hey everyone, welcome back to Kitchen Table TCG. Today we're going to look at a Chane deck tech as a part of Team Kitchen Fables testing. This deck tech has been scripted out by Cody Fuller, and then I've been playing with the deck for a while. And the goal here is to help get an overview of a Chane deck so that you as a new player or as a mediocre player like myself can get used to the idea of playing the deck and see how it functions best. So without further ado, let's hop into the deck tech. Chane is a hero that plays a mainly aggressive go-wide strategy that just simply outpaces your opponent by dealing dual sources of damage that leave them begging for mercy. The deck theory is based around creating soul shackles that rev up the deck's engine to fuel the attacks later in the game. Chane utilizes the cards that are put into his Banish Zone from Soul Shackle's effect by taking advantage of cards with Blood Debt. This provides Chane with an advantage that he can leverage throughout the match. When you're playing Chane, you want to punish your opponent by creating difficult to block attacks due to dividing their blocks with pitching for the Arcane Barrier resource, or thinking about on-hit effects of cards like Nebula Blade and Meet and Greet, which create Rune Chant tokens. These on-hit effects are further driven from cards like Plunder Run and Marvin Skies. The ability to give most of your attacks go again is what allows Chane to really stretch his opponents into uncomfortable territories. Chane has access to several key cards that help aid in his vision of making his opponents suffer. These cards include Seeds of Agony, Riftbind, Shadow Puppetry, Art of War, and his specialization, Eclipse. Let's start with Seeds of Agony. This non-attack action card costs 0 to play and affects cards that cost either 0, 1, or 2. It is how Chane starts many of his turns to activate and buff attacks. This card is one of the core components to any Chane Classic constructed deck. Including 9 should be almost a requirement. When playing out of the Banish Zone, it triggers so many of the things that Chane is looking to do. Playing a non-attack action card turns on Nebula Blade's +3 attack, which ramps up the Rune Blade weapon to be a difficult task to block, or the opponent will take further punishment of the Rune Chant that it will create. Seeds of Agony also gives the next attack action card that costs 0, 1, or 2 deal arcane damage to target hero. Seeds also pumps Riftbind by +1 attack when Riftbind is played from the Banish Zone, doing double duty for those attacks. Of course, then Riftbind is another staple. This is an attack action card that costs 1 to play and attacks for 1, 2, or 3. Playing this card out of the Banish Zone is really where it shines. When played from the Banish Zone, Riftbind will receive +1 attack for every non-attack action card that you've played this turn. There are several ways that Riftbind can make it into your Banish Zone. Most games it'll go into your Banish Zone as a result of your Soul Shackle effect. But we also have other ways to get into the zone as well. Cards like Shadow of Ursa allow you to banish a card to give it go again. Another card is Chane's specialization, Soul Reaping, presenting an option to banish Riftbind as well. Additionally, you can banish cards by using Art of War. You can even get Riftbind into the Banish Zone with on-hit effects like that of Shadow Puppetry. Shadow Puppetry, another great card that allows Chane to really go wide. This is a non-attack action card that costs 0 to play. It gives any attack +1 and also gives the next attack go again. It gives the next attack action card you play an on-hit effect of if the attack hits, look at the top card of your deck and you may banish it. When you play this card, it immediately puts pressure onto the opponent in so many ways. This allows Chane to begin to stretch the turn with multiple attacks coupled by the strong on-hit effects. Another card that can give attacks go again is the main star of the show, Art of War. This card does everything that Chane wants to do. It's an instant that costs you 1 to play with 4 options, of which you're able to select 2. When you need to go wider on a turn, you're able to select the next attack action gains go again. When you need the additional power on your attack action cards, you're able to select the attack action cards you control gain +1 power. One of the other options that really sets this card on a different tier for Chane is the ability to banish an attack action card to draw 2 cards. This essentially gives Chane access to 3 cards when you banish a card with Blood Debt. When you're able to banish a Riftbind or another card that gets more power when played from the Banish Zone, this is when Chane is running on all cylinders. The additional benefit of Art of War is that simply it's versatile inside the deck. You're able to take advantage of all the strengths that the card has to offer when Chane is running it. A massive turn with Chane can get out of control quickly when you're able to pair the right cards together and set up turns for massive damage. Here's an example of what that might look like to give you an idea of how the deck runs. In hand, you have a red Riftbind, a Soul Reaping, Art of War, and a blue Vexing Malice. In your arsenal, you have a red Plunder Run. In your Banish Zone, you already have a red Seeds of Agony, a red Howl from Beyond, and a red Riftbind. You also have an Eclipse. So you start your turn by playing Art of War by pitching Vexing Malice, paying the 1 resource and leaving 2 floating. You select the +1 power to your attack action cards, and you banish an attack action card to draw 2 cards. You banish Riftbind from your hand, drawing Shadow Puppetry and a yellow Seeds of Agony. Next, you play Plunder Run red from your arsenal for 0, giving +3 power to your next attack and triggering a draw on the next attack action card that you hit with. From here, you're going to play Shadow Puppetry from your hand for 0 cost, giving your next attack action card +1 power, go again, and if this attack hits, look at the top card of your deck and you may banish it. You'll then play the Howl from Beyond red for 2 with the floating resources from our earlier pitch, giving the next attack action card +3 power. Here, you'll play Soul Reaping from your hand using its alternative cost of banishing a Seeds of Agony yellow from your hand. From the ability of Soul Reaping, when you do play it this way, we gain a resource for each card with Blood Debt that we banished. In this instance, we'll gain 1 resource from the play of Soul Reaping. This attack will deal a staggering 14 damage, +3 from Plunder Run, +3 from Howl Beyond, +1 from Shadow Puppetry, and +1 from Art of War, with 2 devastating on-hit effects, drawing a card and giving us the ability to banish the top card of our deck if we choose to do so. If this attack were to hit, we could draw into cards like Invert Existence, which we'll be able to pitch for resources, and we would be able to look at the top card of our deck and banish it. This could be a card with Blood Debt that we might be able to play this turn. In this case, it's a Seeds of Agony red, which we will choose to banish. We still get to draw a card off of Plunder Run, in which we draw an Invert Existence. With our Go Again, that was generated from Shadow Puppetry, we can activate Chane's ability to create a Soul Shackle, giving our next Runeblade or Shadow action Go Again. We will then swing our Nebula Blade by pitching the Invert Existence that we drew, using 2 resources and leaving us with 2 floating. Since Nebula Blade is a Runeblade action, it will have Go Again from Chane's ability. This attack will deal 4 damage because we have played a non-attack action card this turn, thus activating the +3 power from Nebula Blade's ability. This attack will also create a Rune Chant if it hits. With Go Again, we will play the 3 Seeds of Agony from our Banish Zone, all costing 0 resources. The next attack action card that costs 1 or less we play will deal 3 separate sources of arcane damage. We will then play the first Riftbind from our Banish Zone. It costs 1 to play and we will use one of our 2 floating resources to play it. This attack would deal 4 arcane damage, 1 from the Rune Chant and 3 from the Seeds of Agony we played, along with a whopping 10 physical damage. Since we played Riftbind from the Banish Zone, it will receive a +1 power for each non-attack action card that we've played this turn, so 6 in total. It will also receive that +1 from the Art of War we played at the beginning of our turn. After our opponent has a chance to defend, we will react with our Snapdragon Scalers to give Riftbind Go Again. We will play the last Riftbind, costing 1 to play out of our Banish Zone with the remaining resource that we had floating, which will come in for another powerful attack of 10 because it receives the same buffs as the one that we played before. Once we have played this last card, it will be our 6th card with Blood Debt that we played this turn, which means that we will have met the requirement needed to play Chane's legendary specialization card, Eclipse. Because Eclipse is an instant that costs 0 to play, we will be able to play this before the end of our turn, creating an Ursur, the Soul Reaper token. Ursur is a shadow token demon ally that costs 0 to attack and attacks for 6 power and has 6 health. It was also the Monarch spoiler for this channel, which was pretty cool. So in review of our turn, we have presented a potential 42 damage, 4 arcane and 38 physical. On top of that, we will leave behind a demon ally that presents a nasty threat for our next turn, if our opponent made it. This is just an example and an illustration of how powerful Chane can be when you maximize what he is able to do. Even though we've just covered this explosive turn and uncovered some of Chane's true potential, Chane does have some downside. Most of the time, he does not want to run defense reactions because they take away of his ability to be aggressive and focus on maximizing his turns. Therefore, he typically doesn't block that well against on-hit triggers from his opponents, especially if his opponents are utilizing attack reactions to push through damage on-hit triggers. There are certain cards that can be devastating when played at the right time against Chane. Cards that limit his ability to gain Go Again, or prevent him from playing cards out of his banish zone. These will really throw a wrench into Chane's plans. As for certain matchups and how to properly play against them, we will look into two heroes for this. First is Prism. With her, you will want to include a few extra 6+ powered attacks in order to trigger Phantasm on her attacks. A good target for this is 9th Blade of the Blood Oath. This attacks for 9 and won't be susceptible to the target of a Blinding Beam. Also making sure that we have 3-dimensional Crossroads for this matchup. This card comes in clutch for destroying spectral shields. Against Katsu, there are a couple of cards that can really slow him down. We will want to include Chains of Eminence when we play against him. This card works really well inside of Chane because it's a non-attack action card that activates our weapon and pumps and allows us to play certain attacks out of our banish zone. It also allows us to prevent a big turn from our opponent and really lock them down to a tight situation. Targeting Flick Flack if we are wanting our big attack to deal significant damage, or preventing our opponent from getting to their full combo of Surging Strike, Whelming Gust Wave, Mugenshi Release, and Lord of Wind. Putting a stop to this type of turn and making our opponent wait one more before they are able to play it could really swing the game in our favor. Chane is a powerful hero that really showcases LSS's design ability to creatively innovate gameplay mechanics. When looking at the in-game dynamics, he operates much like a freight train that can feel like it's coming off the rails at some points. He picks up speed and really accelerates his explosiveness late in the game. To really maximize what Chane can do, it takes getting used to and seeing some Blood Debt cards in your banish zone at the end of your turn. You just have to be strategic with what cards you let linger in the banish zone. After playing through your deck, you can start to get a feel for what it's capable of, and you begin to understand how to harness its ability differently when going up against different heroes. This takes developing a game plan and sticking to the plan when you encounter certain matchups. Lastly, don't be upset if you end up dying to Blood Debt. It's part of the game, it's part of the way that this plays, and it's all going to be okay. Well, thanks so much for watching the video. If you'd like to support the channel, you can head on over to patreon.com/KitchenTableTCG, which gets you access to an online community of which there's players playing every night, as well as additional armor events, as well as classic constructed leagues. But most importantly, thanks for watching the videos, and remember to be kind to the people around you.